Demonart_4 or Demonart What If. Going for an art stream today rather than Stone Machia because I run on cravings. I crave a certain idea. I have a focus. I am obsessed with an idea, and then I just give in. So yeah, I had an idea and now I'm giving into it. Just gonna quickly set some things up. I want to. No, I don't want to do that. Hold on. Restart that. Is live. It is live. Cool. Just wanted to make sure so this wasn't behind. Copy. Where's that? Minor dilly dally. One moment. Docs. Yeah, it worked. It worked. So. Before we get into stream, yeah, fuck me. Okay, before we get into stream, I have two things. One is I wanted to talk about something to do with literature and writing that I've recently stumbled upon someone's video about that I felt like I wanted to talk about. And two, I want to show off my cards. I feel like a kid getting access to their stuff, which I can't lie. Not to sound like those really old people who still think they're in their teens, but I feel like one of those really old people who still feels like they're in their teens a lot of the time. Like, I feel like there really isn't much of a difference between me when I was a kid and when I was now. How I am now, rather. I'm definitely a man-child. For sure. I don't think it's in, like, the negative tone that people use for that term. But I don't think... It's like a weird state of mind mentality. I don't think I've progressed into the state of mind of an adult, which... really that just means becoming comfortable with yourself and, you know, just developing naturally. But yeah, anyway, I just don't feel I'm there yet. I don't know why that I don't know why from that. Anyway, shit. So I basically will be in front of me just sorting something out while I talk. But so what do I want to say? So it was about literature. I watched this person's video recently on literature and how it's been kind of turned into this thing where it's all up to interpretation, but it's also all political. Like, literature as a whole is political. And while I was on my dog walk, I gave it some thought. I was just like, okay, what is a great argument to that idea? Because I greatly disagree with you. I don't think that all words are political. I also don't think that your interpretation of a piece of work is automatically what that piece of work was meant to interpret. And that's heavily because I've done a lot of those pieces. Like, I myself draw, I myself have written, I myself have done ... So a lot of times, those aren't what we interpret it as. Probably isn't what was intended. I just going out on a limb. But yeah. Side note, I kind of wish that for Magic, when they gave you tokens, I wish like there was a way to just get token sleeves in addition to whatever sleeves you bought. Stupid. Why is it like limited to 100? To be like 105 maybe, just in case you've got a few tokens. Yeah. Oh well. Whatever. Whatever. Alright. I'm kind of filling up my whole space, so I'm gonna have to tidy this up somehow. But for now, all this nonsense should be fine. By the way, the box for the commander deck, I don't know, I'm a big fan. It's got the symbols on the side. You've got the Witherbloom emblem, and on the back you've got Denya and Gorma right in front of me. I had to look down. Big fan. You can see now on... Oh, you can't see my background. Sorry, I've got... If we look over here, I've got like a whole shelf full of shit. And now we've got the commander deck there as well, which is fun. Oh yeah, for my sleeving purposes, I'm going to get back to the literature point in a second, I'm just getting distracted. I bought these, both Dragon Shield. Dragon Shield perfect fit side things, which are really nice to be fair, and a box of power colours, because I feel like that fits with a bloom, you know. Obviously, I'm changing my commander to fair 4, but I still think it works. So, what I was saying is basically, for literature, you can interpret it subjectively. It's like, your mind is subjective for a reason. You take in information and you add it onto your own experiences, and you expand on that. However, objectively, that's just not what the fucking book is about. Like, it's the same. Oh, let me go on to that topic in a second that I was about to bring up. I just think it's a goofy idea, and it's used as an excuse to like manipulate a story to your own benefit, rather than to actually improve the story in some way. Let me just go right into my reasoning why. So essentially, the logic I bring in is that, let's just switch to camera while I do this. The logic I'm using here is when you're approaching literature and you view it that way, it's just, there's so many like negative ways to take a piece of work if you've just read it wrong, essentially, which is what you're doing by misconstruing. You're just reading it incorrectly. You're not reading how it's intended to be read. But also, it's a great propaganda tool if you say it's all political. But also, if you look at like some pieces of work, are you sure you want to say some things are political? Like, truly, genuinely. So first off, as someone who's written a fan fiction and has done a comic page or two before, fuck no, I didn't do any of that shit politically. I wrote a fanfic because I thought it fit the setting and either improved it or was just a nice little like take on it. Ooh, exotic orchard. I didn't do it because, I wanted to construe some narrative with it. Yeah, man, I made an overpowered Naruto character because I just really wanted to introduce fucking, I don't know, right-wing politics into Marvel. What? Into Naruto, into whatever it was. Sorry, I made a few fanfics, so I'm just delving between them. It's just such a goofy-ass notion. And, like, on the worst end, God, I hope no one fucking shows up when I say this. Like, I don't know, I hope no one just switches over to the stream now. But, on another notion, do you want rape manga to be political? Are you sure you want any political spin? Consider how much rape manga is out there. Do you truly think that it's political? And if so, firstly, how? Secondly, wouldn't that just mean that every single political faction wants to rape people? I know it seems really weird, but so is thinking that all literature is political, you know? I feel like my brain wants to be so passionate about this because of just the simple fact that we've had so many things that were like politically based that damaged stories. I'm thinking Gachi Akuta with the nonsense about how one guy got cancelled for being racist and then the Gachi Akuta person was bullied off fucking Twitter because she had the quote-unquote wrong political opinion when none of it was political in the first place. I mean, fuck, people have been making cheap cosplays for years, even as jokes or as real things, whatever. Why is it everyone else's problem if someone just doesn't have the money to make some elaborate rendition of a cosplay? Should they just never cosplay that character? And if that's the case, well, I believe the same group of people who were trying to encourage that were also the same group of people saying that they should be able to cosplay any group of people. So it's just a bit hypocritical. And I get it. Every aspect of humanity is hypocritical. I'm hypocritical as fuck. But I own it. They're not owning it. Like, these aren't people who own that shit. I call them hypocritical, and the response is going to be, you're hypocritical as well. Yeah, fucking, I know. Congrats. Great, astute observation. But yeah. I find it interesting, though, that we have gone down the path of making things more subjective in how people view stuff. I will say, though, in terms of, like, reading normal books and stuff and taking it that way, I mean, I see people who say that, like, Macbeth was meant to be this, and, what was it, A Midsummer's Night Dream or whatever. They're saying that that's meant to be transgender rhetoric. It's not. You're interpreting it that way. You are experiencing your lived experience, and you can relate somehow to this historic, because it is historic, this historic story. That doesn't mean the story is trans. It means that you're trans, and you happen to, or you know trans people, or you somehow connect to it, and you've taken it on personally. Necro Blossom Swell. I love the swells. They're cool. You may reveal Swamp Forest from if you don't know. It's just nice. Just a nice card. But yeah, just don't. It's just foolish. It's just foolish. As someone who's like, when you write a story, you aren't thinking about every single aspect. I don't know. It just feels weird. I don't know. I don't think I'll be able to understand people who say that literature is inherently political. Yeah, some literature is political, of course. People talk about a lot of different things. Huh? What's up, Manny? You have thank you for majestically spawning in. Appreciate it. I just talk to myself. I'm pretty sure I'm insane. I might be schizophrenic. It's a fun way to get your thoughts down and all that. I talk to myself when I'm on walks. I talk to myself when I'm on stream. It just happens. I'm just while I sleeve up some cards, I'll show them off in a second. I'm just yabbering on about something I saw today. Someone was talking about how it's commonplace now for like literature groups in, I believe, America. I don't think it was specifically designated anywhere else. Are oftentimes finding themselves to be like focused on being politically correct, or they think that all literature is political. Which I'm just saying, I just thought might as well while I'm doing this, since I'm streaming, I might as well just yabber on about how I disagree with it. Because like, if you treat all literature as political, then rape manga is political, and I'm not sure if I want that to be political. You know, it's a bit of a stretch, but so is generalizing all literature to politicalness. God, it takes fucking ages to sleeve up a whole commander deck, man. It's actual hell. Oh yeah, also for a separate thing, Manny, wanted to put your number in, but it said your number doesn't exist. So it's just like, yeah, no, fuck you. Fuck you, wanker. So I tried putting it based on UK because it said 0 at the start. I'm not going to spoil your number online. But it said 0 at the start, so I assumed it was +44, but it seems to be incorrect. Just said you want. It's not. Sorry, it's not that it said that the number isn't real. It said that the number isn't like available on WhatsApp. I quite like the Soul Ring from this, but I'm not sure what it is. What drives the Star Archers to appear, and what causes them to sometimes disappear? I doubt even the Dawning Archaic knows. Jadzi, Oracle of Arcadios. And that's the Soul Ring. when I want to do the talking, it's never ending. To be a little woke, all literature is political. I think it does become a hassle to enjoy when we go from acknowledgement to extra woke. Let me read that 4 more times because it's not cementing in my head. I do relate on the never-ending part. I'm constantly talking to myself out loud and in my head. To be a little woke, all literature is political. I just don't agree. Because if you truly mean that, like, if you truly take it as all literature is political, then you have to consider, like, again, rape manga to be political. I don't see how that's political. And I myself have written before, I didn't have any political meaning to it. I wasn't trying to be political to it. I think it does become a hassle to enjoy when we go from acknowledgement to extra woke. As in, like, acknowledging it being political to actively trying to go down a certain messaging in it? Or am I misunderstanding what you're trying to say there? I mean, I do agree, trying to go out of your way to see political things in literature, I think is also, yeah, it's a hassle, but I think my reason's a little bit different, being that for me it's like you're just trying to find it out of what could very well be nothing. Because of course, like, political things can affect how you view a piece, or it can affect how someone has written the piece. Like, obviously someone with traditionalist views is probably going to make a book that upholds certain traditional things. It's going to uphold, like, the idea of having a family or something. But I don't think it makes the work itself, like the actual literature, political. That's more of the person. Like, it's just part of the nature. And even then, to be fair, that idea I don't really think is political. I think it's only political when you limit it that way. Because then it's a question of, are they thinking that way because it's a political belief, or is it that just that's their belief? And in that case, it's no longer really political, I would say. Because belief and political don't have to necessarily be in the same thing. Of course, belief has always had a connection in any sense of the word, like belief in deities, belief in whatever, with politics, but they can be exclusive from one another. I'm really glad I bought a Commander deck because it has so many cool little, like, tidbits. There's, like, little texts of, like, story for the characters. It's good fun. It's good fun. Here's I think this is my favorite card in the entire thing. It's a Nigerian number, so Nigerian. Got you. +2, 3, 4. Yeah. I think if it has to be separated by genre and topic, then it can't be that, like, all literature is political. It can't be that literature is inherently political or something, because that just means you happen to be reading a political genre, or you happen to be taking on that stuff and you are putting your own politics into it. What was I going to bring up? Let me just grab that then. As may be visible for myself, I do not have a Nigerian number, so I did not realise that. Off to the side. Ballad Artist is legitimately, I think, my favourite card in this. I think there's one other card in it, which is... Oh, do I have it here? No. Oh, goodness. Sorry, there's so many cards, man. It's a big snake. It's a big snake that does Death Touch. It's called Auron or something. That's what it is. I'm not looking for all my cards right now. Shit. The whole thing just fell over. Also, actually, extending on my... affects the reader... How the topic affects the reader will be political. Depending on the genre, how the public itself affects the reader, it will be political. Could cause dissonance amongst readers when it's politics or on different scales. Same reason why people think slavery talk is too. I don't think that's that the literature itself is political. I think it's that people. It's commonplace nowadays for people to interpret things politically. That doesn't mean that the thing itself is political. You feel? Some talks aren't so controversial. There's the hassle of filtering them out there. I mean, again, sorry to be a kind of a hassle and repeat myself there, but I just don't. Hold on, I'm just saying. Nigerian. Where is it? Called Zimbabwe. That was another topic I wanted to talk about, which is I also think that a lot of people, they don't understand. They treat words as something that is like dependent on what you think of the word. Like there's not an objective meaning to a word. There was a book. It's an old book. It's like solid, probably 50, 80 years old. That goes over this idea, like that introduces the idea that words don't have a concrete meaning to them. And I think that's a big reason why people end up struggling to differentiate. Yeah, it's 100% people. Nigeria, yeah. Okay. There we go. Oh, that's just going to be set up in the background. Like, I for sure, I know there's political literature. I know that sometimes people will have their own little inside things about what words might mean. But there is a way that the thing works. And it's my autistic thing. Because auto ADHD and all that. Not to blame a behaviour on a label or anything, that is kind of it. But the way my brain works requires me to have a meaning to words. So one thing I got kind of pissed about, I can't lie, yesterday, is demons and devils, the distinction. I swear that this does have something to do with the other thing. But the distinction between them, because more and more I'm finding that people don't distinct them, even though they are objectively separate. A demon is like animalistic, bestial thing, creature, and a horde. That's kind of like the idea. Devil, they're the smart ones. They're the commanders, vampires, leaders, that sort of stuff. They usually are singular rather than a whole species. Demons are split into imps, goblins, this, that. To the point where I had a discussion recently with someone where I told them they're wrong about everything they believe in. Where they were talking about Devil May Cry and saying that in Devil May Cry, devils and demons aren't distinct. You know, the game called Devil May Cry, where the main character is a half devil who goes to the demon realm to fight demons as a devil. Very fond of words. Linguistics are not up to speed with complex articulation. Subject over could start off nuanced, then graduate to a more literal distinction, but more than that. Let me reread that again. Hold on. I think that for a lot of that stuff, though, that's kind of something that's just been lost in language. I think it's the same idea with, you know how the Greeks, they had, I forget what the number was, they had like 20 plus words for love. Different forms of love, different experiences of love. But when you look at that through the lens of someone now, you just hear, oh, they're in love. Oh, it's romance. Or something along those lines. When for them it meant a lot more, because they just had more options. They had more avenues with one word. So it almost gave them the ability to be objective. Whereas now we're almost like we're pushed to be subjective. If you kind of see what I'm juggling in my head here. It might just be a simple matter of we need to add more words into our lexicon. It could just be as simple as that. It could just be that we need like 20 more things. I actually think that's probably the reason why people think that the Greeks were really gay, is because it's just mistranslations. It's just someone reads, these two loved each other, and they read it as they wanted to bang, but in actuality it meant they were brothers, you know? They were in a solid, like, you know, brotherly, normal is the wrong word. That's how starved we are. Starved of meaning. I can't read. Once I go off on a tangent, my memory of the last thing I spoke about is kind of, it's there. I can't give you exact words though. Kind of feels like we just need more objectiveness. That's it. Just be more objective. Don't treat it as like, you can generalize. Like, I think generalizations are generally quite often fine. Usually things that are outside of our generalizations are the abnormality. They are the 0.1%. They're the 1%. They're this, that. Like, not to be political. But like it's like how, I might cook myself here. It's like how transgender people, for example, they are such a commonplace now, in how we talk about them, in media, in all that sort of stuff. Oh, this is a really good card as well. I like this one a lot. I don't necessarily think it was a bad thing of constantly escalating the passion. It could be. It could be a really passionate connection. It could be that. But I also think that is like something we won't know unless we just expand how we talk about stuff, and unless we are more specific with stuff. What was the fuck was I saying? Yeah, trans people are super common now, and like in how we talk about them and how we experience them. But in actuality, they're point something of the population. They're under 7% if I remember correctly. The amount of people who you ever meet that are trans, unless you're in groups like that frequently, is going to be abysmally low. Most people will never meet one in their entire life. But politically and all that stuff, we talk about them so frequently. I had a point with this. Hold on one second. I had a point with this. Oh yeah. Sorry, that was my way of saying that there are abnormalities. There are like things out there. And we are kind of like focusing too much on one thing. We're focusing too much on the non-generals. No, I've lost my fucking point. I actually forgot what I said. Shit. I swear I had a point. There was something for a split second. Now it's gone. God damn it. Oh, that's so annoying. But yeah. I don't think it was. I'm going to say it. I don't think it would be bad, per se, but I do think that it is possibly a mischaracterization. And keep in mind, this isn't like, you know, one guy or something that just we're mischaracterizing few thousand years later. This is a whole civilization. Like, it isn't just one person. This is thousands, millions of lives that we're just saying, oh yeah, because of this thing that we've misunderstood, they're just all this thing now, you know? Or this is a really frequent thing. And then people will use it in arguments and stuff, and it's just like, bro. I'm not a historian, though. I like history, but I haven't gone down whatever path they have, so maybe there's something I'm just missing, of course. Just to backtrack for a second. Anyway. I want to use my channel as a body double, not as a political thing anyway. So this is just me talking while I sleeve these fucking cards, man. There's so goddamn many. 100 cards, sleeving them twice. So I'm sleeving 200 cards technically. Is just utter hell. Also realizing I've got like no flyers, but I still got a strat. I've got a strat for flyers, which is I make it so that all of my guys can insta-kill you. Because I've got a lot of death touch, which if you don't play Magic is essentially if I hit you, you die. Just guaranteed death. I have lots of ways to achieve it and stuff. And of course, you can't hit flyers if you don't have flyers. However, they can block you, even if you're not a flyer, which means that like. But if I just have insta kill set on, because every combat in Magic the Gathering, the way it works is, you defend and then you get attacked, or something along those lines. You're attacking and defending at the same time. The death effect still goes through, which means theoretically, as long as I just made enough guys come out, and I had like a death touch effect on all of them, I win. I win the game. Which is kind of crazy. It's like the main strat I have for flyers. Yeah, you can come down. Come at me, bro. I'll fucking murder your ass. So characterization, genocide. Yeah, that is the perfect wording. That's actually, I would have used that if that came to mind. I like the way you said that. To which misconceptions are heard by the next generation, there will be enforcers to make sure it never dies out. Yeah, as well. Yeah. I've noticed that also a lot. Like, people will have an idea, a mischaracterization of something, and then they force it onto the work. I think my best example would have to be when Yuri. Do you know if you know the term Yuri or Yaoi? I'm too much in those mediums, so I don't quite know if those are like common words or commonly heard enough. But people who basically are into gay characters being gay or being lesbians in manga, games, video games, shows, novels, books, literally any medium, they will go online and they will actively mischaracterize these characters, and they refuse to acknowledge the authors of the work. My best example is Bayonetta. If you remember when Bayonetta came out, or even just a few years ago when people were talking about her, she was bad. Like, she was considered a poor representation of women and men's way of being really sexual and da 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 da. However, then someone came along and said, actually, she's really good representation for empowered women and gay women and all that sort of stuff. And then eventually that turned into characterizing her as a gay woman. And then eventually it kind of flipped over. So she went from no women should like this or relate with it or whatever to she is like the epitome of what a woman should be. Online, at least. I'm not sure how it is in person, to be fair. Dina Solsiba. But yeah. So when it like completely flipped. And the irony of it is the author made a statement like 3 years ago or something, 4 years ago, where he made, or like the creator of Bayonetta made a statement. The game page or the game in some way made a picture of Bayonetta with her husband. Now, of course, that changed fuck all. So now there's just this mischaracterization treating her as if she's like super lesbian, super gay, and then that's going to be perpetuated forever because they're actively trying to ignore the truth, and it's going to be inherited to make sure it never dies out, as you said. And also there's backlash from disagreeing with it and stuff, and so on and so forth. By the way, I am not done yet, but holy fuck, look at this stack. I swear it wasn't this big when I started out, and now I've got a big chunk of just... Damn. I swear it was like half the size before I started sleeving. Oh my god. But yeah. Sorry, I want to do this today because I opened it up and I was just like, I'm just going to sleeve it. And it took me an hour to get halfway through. And then I had to take my dog on a walk because no one had taken her out yet. And blah, 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 blah. And now here we are. Goodness. But yeah, you know what? I'm going to use this last little bit because I'm almost at the end. Just to move away from that real quick, because I just wanted to speak about it because it was on my mind. The thing I'm planning to do for today, as you can see from it being an art stream, is I will be doing... So I want to do two things. There's two things I've got in mind. So one is I would like to go back to the Ichigo drawing we did, and I want to use some like typology tips I got. So there's this guy who does typology. I don't know if he uses actual images or if he just draws them himself, but the way he writes words is just beautiful. I don't know, the way he just does it in a really nice way. Actually, hold on, let me bring up Discord because I've got it saved on there. But yeah, the way he does stuff is really nice. I'm going to show it off in a second. I'm just pulling everything up. Just a couple things he's done. And he's also, but this guy's also done a tutorial, and I'm just going to also include just another image. That's a different thing. Just so you get an idea, this is the sort of thing I'm talking about. So these are the works he's done. The Sin of Pride. This is his topography idea of how to do it. This is Arcane Legends, and this is like just another one I found online. Did go through that a little quickly, so I'll just do that slowly. So my plan is basically go over the over the Bleach drawing, and just do the typology better. Take in how he's written like this tip on how to do topography, and just improve myself. Going back to the camera. The other thing I want to do, and actually I have this kind of as more of a priority, to be honest, because I just want to do it. I've been craving this idea, and it burst out the seams yesterday. I went crazy on it and just spent fucking ages doing it. So it's quite the stack. It'd be nice for a collector of anything other than manic cognitive responses to social. What the fuck? Okay, what a line. But for now, sell for ODE textbooks and group theory. Hey, fair play. Hey, if you to be fair, I found out well it done that. If you wanted to collect something else that was related, one cool idea is Gundam. The whole story of Gundam is all about that. So, or stories of Gundam are all about that sort of thing. So, if you ever wanted to have an extension on that, it's just a really funny way to say that. But yeah, so sorry. What I was saying is, so I like Universes Beyond. So if you know anything about Magic, they have a massive thing for Universes Beyond now. So you've got Inverse Magic, which is what I'm currently doing. Witherbloom. Witherbloom is a location in Magic the Gathering on a plane called Aviserios? Aviserial? I don't know what it's called. It steers clear of my mind. That sort of stuff is in Magic. That's the actual world that Magic the Gathering is set in, or one of the worlds it's set in. Then you have Universes Beyond / Universes Marvel, because there's a lot of fucking Marvel sets coming. And basically, Universes Beyond is when they take outside properties like Marvel, Sonic, Avatar: The Last Airbender, Final Fantasy, and so on and so forth, and then they put it into Magic as cards. There's two ways they approach it. Well, technically there's three, but I'm going to focus on the actual two ways. One is through Secret Lairs, which is like a special, expensive way to get cards, and those are usually, they've taken another card and they've put like a new look to it. So for Sonic, they have like, there's a Soul Ring card. So I showed a Soul Ring earlier in stream. But essentially it's a picture of Sonic with a ring around him. And that's like a new Soul Ring card that you can get through Secret Lairs. Just a reprint of an existing card, but with this exterior IP. Then you have the other version. Now this can be in Secret Lairs as well. Usually it's not super common, but it can be. Usually it's in its own set. But what they'll do is they will take, I don't know, whatever set. They'll take Marvel. They'll take let's say Spider-Man, and what they'll do is they'll make a bunch of new cards, completely unique to this set. Maybe they'll have some like similarities to other stuff, but they're not reprints mostly. And those are now like in Magic and those are like their own separate thing. They're universes beyond. And I thought, what if we did like a set like that, like what I just described, where they make these new cards and yada yada yada, but instead of having the set be like that, have it work like Secret Lair. So what we do here instead is you make a whole set, but you're not making a new set because you're actually taking a previous set of cards. For example, there's a set I really like called Kamigawa, or Kamigawa Neon Dynasty Champions, yada yada. There's like a bunch of them. Basically, just there's a world which Kamigawa is set on, or is actually not sure if it's called Kamigawa. It might actually be called Kamigawa. But yeah, so the Kamigawa world, and you put these cards in as like a reprint of every single card from that set. For an example, to better explain myself, you could take Bleach, the manga / anime, because I may or may not be a big fan of it, and you could take Kamigawa, a set based in feudal Japan / cyberpunk Japan, and what you do is you take the characters from Bleach, you take the cards, and based on how the card itself looks, you just plop a character in there. So I'll show you in a second what I've got for that. I think I'll get up in a second just because I have a specific land I want to put in this. So just 1 second. But yeah, so the idea here is they are identical to the actual ones. This is just a normal set. I'll set that. Check what you just said in a second. Ooh, sorry. So you'll take how ... actually works, but it just looks different now. That way you still have your alternate IP, but you don't have these new cards and a bunch of shit filling up. You don't need to use these cards. I've noticed a big problem for a lot of Magic players is, for Magic the Gathering, you need to use the Universes Beyond. They're not just reprints and all that. Sorry, I've got like a really big box of just cards, and I've got some cards I want to grab around. Oh goodness, where is it? There's not a load of places to get cards where I'm at. Same. 100% same. It took forever to find an art style that wasn't 6 hours. Fuck me. Meanwhile, I'm complaining because it takes me like a pretty second to get to places. Like, I don't go to the card places near me because it takes me like an hour to get there. Damn. I have a feeling I'm gonna have a lot of cards that I can put into this deck, low-key. But we'll think about that in a second. I want something specific right now. There was a land card in this, right? What? Where's my land cards? The fuck? One moment, I'm struggling. I certainly feel you. That's a really long distance to get art stuff. I'll be honest, I bought this card deck online. The reason why I bought this was because I've got friends who play Magic near me. So this was like my way of going to it, but also God, there's so many fucking cards, man. I thought I had a swamp that was hollow. That's what I was looking for. Maybe I don't. Maybe I'm lost. Hold on 1 second. I swear I had it, but I can't find it. It's driving me insane. Oh yeah, but yeah. So for uni, I'm going back to a place that has cards essentially, because my uni is in. Why do I want that? My uni is in Oxford. Maybe I shouldn't be revealing that, to be fair, but yeah. Put that in pile. Okay. I think I don't have any more lands here, but for some reason I have a feeling I haven't ordered everything correctly. Ah, there she is. Felifar, that's the commander I wanted to use. But yeah, I certainly, when this creature enters and dies, but plus one counter on target creature control. I can consider that. These are all 3 elements, which means I'm not going to be able to use the rest of them, I guess. Just really confused because all of my black lands are gone. The fuck? Oh well, man. Oh well. Let's plop that away. Ugh. I just wish there were more ways of finding out what, like, where in your community can you actually go to play those games, you know? Alright. Okay, I'm gonna have to go through those lines at some point. Oh, we're almost at the end. I need to sleeve this card up, because that is what I want my commander to be. Basically, the original 2 commanders for this deck. Oh yeah, I said I was going to look through them with you, wasn't I? You know what, since we're on the lands now, there's no real reason for me to hide anything anymore. I'm not really hiding anything. But yeah, so these are the 2 inbuilt commanders for the deck. Gorma the Gullet and Dina something. If those are visible, I can't tell. Hold on, let me just make my screen bigger. Okay. I think that's going through, yeah. You can't fully see them because it's a bit brown in my room, but those are the 2. By the way, all of them have like a black inside and a green background. Which look great. I really like them. But basically, these 2, what their abilities are whenever you sacrifice a creature, draw a card. This ability triggers only once during each turn. Tap 2 with 2 mana to sacrifice another creature where you gain X life and you put X +1/+1 counters on target creature you control, where X is the sacrificed creature's power. Then you have so that's like the main one that you're meant to use. She's on like on the box. That's who you're meant to use. The other option is Gorma the Gullet, who is better significantly to my memory. It has lifelink, which means whenever it attacks, the amount of damage it does, you get back as health. And whenever another creature you control dies, put a +1/+1 counter on Gorma. And non-token creatures you control enter with an additional +1/+1 counter on them for each creature that died under your control this turn. So, essentially, no matter what you're working with, you want counters, you want tokens, and you want sacrifice. Which is what the whole deck is about. Like, the whole deck is about making tokens, making sacrifices. There's a couple counter-related things. There's no, like, duplication counter. There's a bit of lifelink, there's a bit of death touch, just to mess with those things. And while Gorma the Gullet is really good, I just prefer Felifar, Dawn of Abzan. If I just move that closer. So she's who I want to use instead. And what Felifar Dawn of Abzan does is she has trample, which means that you can't block her with, well, you can block her with one guy, but it will, damage will still go through. She also has sacrifice Felifar, sorry, whenever Felifar enters or attacks, you may sacrifice a non-land permanent. When you do, put a +1/+1 counter on each creature you control. So I want to sacrifice, basically what this card does is it still takes on the counter, it still keeps counters in play. It still keeps the fact that you want to sacrifice things, but rather than just making one big dude who, or like putting a, did you manage to get the number to work? Oh, let's see. I'm assuming it's just remove 0, right? Yep, I did. Yeah, you've been added to my contacts. So I'll contact you further in a sec. But essentially what she does is just, she does everything they do, but for everyone. Which you want when in a token deck where you want to create lots of people. You don't want just one dude who can hit hard. You want 20 lil dudes who get really fucking strong and then fuck everyone else up. So yeah, she's fun, and I think she's going to be way better. Plus, she allows me to add white-black cards and white-black-green cards to my deck, which will help me upgrade later on. Through perenation. The fuck does perenation mean? We sat together, families, ancestor and kin, united as one clan. Abzan. Goes hard. Goes hard indeed. I'm gonna have to sort through this thing at some point. I'm hoping that I have like 1 or 2 extra sleeves, just so I can like have an easier time sorting stuff out. Repetitive Manipulation isn't too bad, but it's a one-time thing because it's whenever it enters or dies, and it's a 2/2, but it requires 6 fucking mana. 6 mana to put counters on one character. And for a 2/2 is terrible. Holy shit. I'm not using this fucking card. I'm just not using this card. It's so fucking expensive. It's like a good effect, but not for what it does. If I was making like a multi-kill deck, like a deck that just wants to kill everything I have and then bring them back over and over again, that might be good. Which does work with the white, black, green, but I don't want that. I do not want that. As for my lands, I'm switching one of my basic swamps out for an Avatar basic swamp, because I like Avatar. It's like a global equalizer that ensures the same effects equal just from... Yes, that is what it is. Which is why it's better, because I like Gorma, because you get to like put it on Gorma and just like really buff it up. And also everyone else who comes in does get buffs. But Felifar's just more steady. Like, she's more reasonable to... They get out for about the same cost, but she's just more reasonable to use consistently. It does also help the fact that she starts off with a stronger effect, which means that like she's automatically strong and she has trample. So yeah, Gorma works with the lifelink of Witherbloom, which is helpful. Like, because there's a lot of cards that rely on you gaining health or losing health, so having a card that gives you health is really helpful. But I have like 20 other cards that can do the same fucking thing. And yeah, it really, for me, it's between Gorma and Felifar, and I just think Felifar's better, especially because when I go to upgrade this deck, it just gives me more opportunities. Alright. Pulled out some other cards I have. Foul Roads and this really pretty Meteor Crater. But I'm not fucking using them. Yeah. Unfortunately. But I do think I want to add Strip Mine, which I think this is the most expensive card I've ever gotten. This is the best card I think I've ever gotten from a pack. It allows me to tap it for mana, or I can sacrifice it in my sacrifice deck to destroy an opponent's land. Which, for information, you destroy lands to... Sorry, you use lands for mana. That's like how you do anything. So, sorry if I'm like treating it as if you don't know anything. I genuinely don't know. So, I'm just being more vague. This might not be the right word. But yeah. It's one of those cards I probably want in any sacrifice deck. It's just really good. And now it's nice and sleeved up and ready to go. Alright, let's plop that in there. I'm going to have to like separate this deck entirely, sort through it, look at it online. I'm going to want to shoot myself. Genuinely. Then we have these guys. Evolving Wilds. These are also useful. Hold on. Let's plop these in. If we can. If there's like 1 or 2 lands that aren't sleeved for now, I'm sure it'll be fine. But yeah. Oh, goodness. This takes ages, man. I have already complained about this, but this takes fucking ages. Card after card after card. Not to mention I'm going to have to edit this deck and then... Whew, it's bloody mental workout. Wouldn't quite call it a physical workout, though. Even if it's straining me physically. Somewhat. Let's just pop this guy since... I don't know. I don't think that this one's ever going to become a popular card, considering just how expensive it is. Unless you had a way to get him out cheap. But he's a human citizen, which means he's not. Whatever. Maybe in the future. Alright. I'm going to switch to my other screen just so you have like a peek at what I'm working on. I wish I could... Yeah, let's just leave it like that for now. That way you get to see everything. So... this is that idea I told you about. This is where I will be... so the plan here is I will be... I'm losing my words. Hold on. Actually, I just thought something. There's a deck I want this to be in the future in, so I'm not going to put it in. I'm just going to stick with Strixhaven cards. So you don't have to do it manually every time. I mean, I do have, as in, like, sort... What do you mean, sort algorithm? Like a tray where I put my cards in and it just automatically, like, shuffles through them and scans them in? Is that what you mean? I don't quite have the technical know-how nor the money to do that. I'll be completely honest. If you mean sleeving, not a single fucking clue I could even approach that one. Considering I'm sleeving from 2 separate directions for every single card with 2 separate things, I don't think I could do that one. But yeah, sorry. What's on screen is that idea I told you about before for the Bleach. How I would put Bleach into Magic the Gathering. It came to me in a dream. Well, it came to me while I should have been dreaming, and instead I was doing this shit. So yeah. Essentially, what's going on here, what it's trying to say, is in pink I've written down like what cards are what. I have clear bias for some characters, obviously, and because I'm rereading through all of Bleach, a lot of it is starting at the very beginning. Oh fuck me, I've got like... I don't think I have enough sleeves left. Shoot. I'm going to have to unsleeve something eventually, but I kind of want all my lands to be sleeved, just in case. But yeah, so the idea is if we go from the top left, going to the right, what we've got here is, firstly, we've got Konda, Lord of Iganjo. So he has a pose where he is... I've drawn over it, unfortunately. But his pose is basically one of the more famous... It looks almost identical to one of the more famous Ichigo poses out there. He's like sitting down like this. He's got holding sword like that. Or like that. and he's got like the sword handles going out here, and the sword is going up. So essentially, that's what I want to do for each go. You can put everyone on that. I do that. Hold on, let me bring it up. Oh. One moment. So I use Moxfield for basically everything. I have put on. So firstly, we have this deck. I've put every single card in it into here. All of the cards are on there, including the new one I added. Actually, I need to add one more. That is not in the deck. Is that... Why have they given me... They've given me strip mine in a different language. This one. What's that I've got? 17 euros. And then the other one was... Oof, what was it off the top of my head? Should be one of the last few. Jungle, Hollow, and Evolving Wilds. I have to re-change how those look because they don't actually look like that for me. Let me finish this up and I'll continue with my sentence. Jungle, Hollow, which one is it? Oh, that's a good question actually. How do they look? So that's that. That's a swamp. The fuck? Jungle Hollow is Tarkir, and Evolving Wilds is Brothers War. Okay, cool. I'll finish what I'm saying in a second. I'm just... I get distracted easy. So select. And then... Evolving Wilds, switch printing, and this is the Brothers War, so it's a bit old. That's kind of cool. I went past a bunch of Brothers War stuff, but now they didn't have the same symbol, I'm pretty sure. Hold on, let's go back up, because maybe I just misread them. Or looked at the thing. Because it's not a Brothers War Commander. March of the Machine Commander? No. Where? Oh, it's the one at the very top, because they're showing me the ones I own at the top. Alright, okay. The actual thing I wanted to show instead was that if we go to my collection on here, you can see every single card I own. I have all of these. So whenever I get new cards, I just put it on here. And that means that when I'm like sorting through stuff, I can do stuff. And because the way the website works, I can look through specifically what color they are. Whites, white, blue, for example. You could look at specifically which ones I have like that. You can filter it through colors, what card types they are. Oracle text, so like key phrases like destroy, I could just type in destroy, if I have any, and I search, it will come up with, you know, destroy target non-land permanent, for example. I can create like binders of stuff, which will probably be how I mark down what I've gotten from a Commander booster pack, or, sorry, from a Commander thing. But yeah, that's the method I have currently. I just do it through this. I think I've got it on my Rumble account, but I'm not sure if I've got it anywhere else. My Moxford account. But I think I've shown it a couple of times in different streams. If I showed it during any streams I had to private though, that might be unfortunate. You know what I find quite funny is when I'll like look on Rumble or YouTube or something and I see that I get views after my live stream's ended. I don't know, just like a fun little thing to see. I've got one side sleeve left. Oh god. Which should mean... Hold on. I've got 5 commander cards left. I've got 3 of these left, but I've got 1 transparent. Shit, how many cards did I just... So there should be... If we look at the deck itself... I should have 104 cards in front of me. Which implies I have... I'm not sure. It either means that I've got 2 too many of the greens. Okay, I should have exactly the amount of cards I meant to, because that has 104. I only have 4 cards left. But I sleeved up all 4 of those cards, which means... Yeah, which means that I'm missing... No, I'm... I had the exact right amount of transparent ones. I had 2 too many for the green ones, and I have 4 cards, so that should be correct. Doesn't sound like I need to count for everything. But just so you get an idea, this is how many cards it is now. Nice juicy burger there. Cards. Plus my 3 possible commanders. So that's nice and done. I'm going to put that to the side real quick. Tidy up just so I can start focusing on the right stuff. Sorry, I've just got a mess in front of me now because I've just got everything everywhere all at once. Just put those there. Put those there. I probably should have done the Commander deck online first, but I was too excited. So, yeah, that wasn't going to happen. Just wasn't happening. Shit, that was a bad idea. That's also not working. Shoot. Okay, I don't think I can use this now. That's unfortunate. It's unfortunate because I like this box, but it looks like I'm just gonna have to use it for like dice and stuff. Dice, tokens, I don't know. Whatever. I'm gonna have to sort through that later. Sleeve up some other bits and bobs. Cool. Let's Move some crap out of the way. Switch up. Oh. Right. So these are the arts up close from Kamigawa. Champions. So what my idea here is essentially is take, for example, Konda, Lord of Eganjo, ignore everything that's like the text, the name, what it is, yada yada yada, but focus on the actual image of Konda. So Konda here is doing this pose, and so on and so forth, which I found, personally, to be very, like, visually similar to... let's see if it shows up quickly. This scene. Now, this is someone's drawing over said scene, but one of those drawings of Ichigo in his poses where he's got one sword stuck in the ground while he's getting up or whatever. I don't really care, but what the specifics are behind it. So essentially the idea here would be take this theme of art, try and emulate the art style while drawing Ichigo. And of course, I have several of these. Here we have Iganjo. The Uber mask I thought reminded me of Vizards, so I'll probably be taking a Vizard and just replacing this woman with it. The Cloud Keeper reminds me of the Execution Stand where Ruki almost gets killed. Through the Breach reminds me of Benos Grandes, and so on and so forth. I don't paint enough to give advice on that, Loki. But also sometimes we overcomplicate things. I don't really know what those words mean, to be honest. I don't use any of those terminologies. I don't use the Terminator line. I don't know that. I usually just light source, main color, light source after marking out the light source, and then I will work on reflections from the clothing itself onto the person. There's also complexions, how fabric behaves, that sort of stuff you've got to focus on. Textures that you could try and emulate if you're going like realistic and stuff. Yeah. It's not just poses, it could just be a general vibe. Like, what would be a good example? You see Myojin here? He's surrounded by fire. He gives the same vibe as Yamamoto. I'll probably put Yamamoto in there. That sort of thing. This guy? Kenpachi Zaraki. I don't know what beast I put in there. Probably I would find a hollow that, what's her face? His spirit, like, has taken control of at some point. But something along those lines. Although it would be quite funny to see him riding... You know, never mind, I'm not going to say that wording. This bald guy... You know, I should probably remove the paint layer. This bald guy becomes Ikaku. The bald guy with a thing because his Bankai reminds me of like the Bankai angle and pose reminds me of this one. This one, He Who Hungers, honestly, it's the vibe of it's like the atmosphere of it. It's a very white, grey landscape. So what if I said, instead of He Who Hungers is there in the middle, the weird ribcage thing, what if we put Grimjow's bestial form in there? Midnight Covenant. He looks like he's swallowing souls. Like sucking up them things. Which reminds me of the character in Bleach who does that upon entering the thing. Swallowing the plague. Now, neither Orihime nor Tatsuki, who are in the thing I'm about to describe, do that pose. However, there is a scene where they're attacked by a hollow who sends out these like tick-like creatures to take control of people. Which reminds me of the scene. Reverse the Sands. This guy has the exact same vibe as the Soul King. He's also a little bit more present, but nonetheless. Journeyer's Kite could be the thing that Ichigo uses to fly before he learns how to walk on air. And so on and so forth. I've also got this little area down here for Grimjow, because Grimjow is one of my favourite characters in Bleach. If not at the moment, he is my favourite character. So I've got like a bunch of different options for him. Obviously, He Who Hungers is already like the main one. But ignoring my minor comments that I did while doing this at fucking 1 in the morning, these are kind of what I'd be going through. So I asked for advice on this one. That's why I like don't know why I have this. Don't really see the Grimjow vibe in this one, I'll be honest. But I can see him being in these three. Have a close-up of Grimjow, where he's like got that same hand pose. That could work. This one could be like a full body thing. I just wrote Ra here, but this would be his like resurrection form maybe. I don't know. Thoughts up in the air. I just think this would be a cooler way to do Universes Beyond than making new cards. Why not use it as an excuse to bring back the art that they've used in the past? I think that'd be really cool. As I said before, that means that you don't have to... it means that players don't have to get these new cards because they're really good or something, but rather they're just given the option to have new looks for cards they already liked. And also old sets that, you know, they're probably not going to get a reprint anytime soon. This set is 19 years old. It came out in 2007. Since this block of sets, where it was like, it's 3 sets, technically, there has been 1 Kamigawa set in almost 20 years. And that was like 2023 or something with Kamigawa. And it literally is completely different. It's an objectively different setting. Like, it's the same sort of... Well, I take that back. It's still the same universe, but it's like 1,000 or 3,000 years later. So it's a little bit odd, to say the least. Now, of course, there'd probably still be complaints that they haven't just brought back the old sets or reprinted them, or they haven't made a new expansion to it. But I definitely feel like this would be more bearable, you know? Mm. Right. I think I made him wait too long. All right. I'm just gonna get right into it. Let me grab a picture of. No, not you. Hold on, I'm just gonna set up another source. I don't want to. Never mind, I'll take that back. I'm gonna grab a picture of Ichigo real quick just to have it. You know, I take that fucking back. I have one right in front of me. So let's just. No, actually, I can't use that. That's the end of story Ichigo. So I will have to grab a picture of him. Let's just grab him from. I'm just going to grab this image, just to have an idea of what to follow through with. I'll bring it up occasionally, just to remind myself. Fuck me. Right. So essentially, we need to do this circle. Grab Ichigo's hair real quick. Good way to draw it. Alright. Strawberry setup is done. Yeah, so then we take that image of how we would look there. Probably also should lower the opacity and just. Where do his shoulders start? Hold on. It looks like we've got right here, right here. Something along those lines, that idea. Anyone for her? I was trying to think of someone. I just didn't have a card in mind. If you want to have a peek at Champions of Kamigawa, or any of the Kamigawa sets really, to think of someone. I feel like I want to stick with just Kamigawa for this, just because I think it's such a perfect set. For like a Bleach style thing. Just not really certain. I've basically got Kenpachi, Yamamoto. I've got one of the heavenly the guard squad. I've got 2 versions of Ruki already. Ikaku, item the Soul King, Tatsuki Orihime, Yami from the Espada, some Grimjow. I kind of only managed to get through Champions of Kamigawa, and I only put down the guys who immediately brought something to mind. And then I went down a whole spiel on Grimjow and stuff. I think I made his jawline a bit too fucking wide. Jesus Christ. Like, I can't not think about it every time I look at it. And then of course we have Zangetsu, which, honestly, I'm thinking of just using the base Zangetsu rather than Bankai or anything like that. Bankai, Shikai, whatever. I just want to just do that. Something on those lines, I guess. Or I guess it's more like... Oh, shit. I'm not quite certain on that idea though. Probably require a little bit more thinking. But yeah, that's just to give a sort of idea, I guess, of what I'll probably work on. Now I think I need a different version of Ichigo, because I kind of like the idea of it being younger Ichigo more than I like the idea of it being older Ichigo. Then again, it is old Ichigo. This is like an old fucking dude, so maybe it is the better idea to go for Bankai. I just don't want it to be like the final Bankai, but maybe that would work. Oh, I don't know. I don't know, man. Maybe I should just be lazy and I should just go for Old Man Yama, because it's thematically more accurate. Anyway. This one, I haven't thought of a Vizard who I want for Ubermask, to be fair. This one will basically be the exact same Citizen Arisen style on this one. Let's do this one. So I want this to be like... that sort of... You know how it looks like when a Menos Grande comes through? I want to be that. So if I remember correctly, Menos Grandes are basically just that, but probably a little bit more intimidating. So, I haven't seen one for a whole minute. Menos Grande. Actually, I just realized I've never drawn a Menos Grande in my life. So if we just... So it basically would be like... that, and then for our designs, I mean, the fingers are almost identical. They really aren't. Um, something like maybe something like that, and then so no, that could be like a base idea. I'm hoping you're getting like the idea for how this is. I am legitimately just taking their place. It's like Bleach characters taking their direct place. I mean, I feel like Ruki is going to be the most easy one to do because she is... It's the same... She's just the same person. There's no different... Like, this is clearly her Bankai. This one. And this one is just her normally, you know? Simple. For this one, Ikaku's weapon is massive, so that one will need some tweaks, for sure. And this one is going to be the most tweaked, because it's going to literally become... Well, maybe not the most tweaked. No, I think about it. Yeah, I'm thinking for this one, also that I, like, draw, like, a gem he's inside of. However the gem looks in the Soul Palace, and just have it so it's, like, his torso sticking out, kind of. But again, they're very, very similar looking, so it's not too hard to do. This one's gonna have a bit of a change for 2 reasons. You know what? I'll be honest. I'm kind of feeling like stressed out by the idea of doing this. I know I don't really like have a particular reason. Rukia selection is very canon. Yeah. Like, I'm kind of stressed at the idea of doing this. Let me just... I think I might try and look for Urahara real quick. Just have a peek if there's anyone who looks like him, because the idea of approaching this is like... I don't know, it just feels big for some reason, you know? What do I want? Let's go manga panels, because there's usually a bit more specific. Okay. School of Water's Edge. A lot of the lands are just going to become locations in Bleach instead. That just have a similar vibe. I don't quite think Urahara's Buddhisty enough to pull off Dosan. Or Dosan, to be fair. Azusa could definitely be... what's her face? She could definitely be Benihime. Like, have her be Benihime, and then below that you have Kisuke standing there or something. If you want an idea for what I'm kind of like going off. Strixhaven, land. For the lands for Strixhaven, is it this one I'm thinking of? No, it's not. It's not this one either. Yeah, they're really fun when you are already going. Is it these? It might be. Hold on, let's just go over here. Grab one of these. I've already put this down, so that's fine. Cards. Hold on one second. Seems to be struggling. Don't quite. There we go. So not these lands that I'm thinking of, although it could probably work, but more so. Wait, what? I guess I'll have to look at this one. So, if you look at this land, I was just thinking of like how this land has like little people or little creatures in the background, and essentially Urahara would be like that. That was like what I was referencing in my head. Maybe there's something that's better for this one. Hold on. Yeah, I guess like that. Maybe there's a better card I can use for like an explanation for that. But that could be an idea. Lots more red in her outfit though. Which might seem a bit odd. It does feel like Urahara could easily have 2 cards just to himself. See, Masako the Humorless could also work pretty well. But I'm not sure about it. I don't... Yeah. I'm kind of feeling like the Glimpse of Nature and Drosen could be good. They just feel too old man monkey, you know? I want this for Yoruichi. Be perfect. Well done. Or Rangiku, to be fair. Desperate Ritual might be a way to like show his cut fight with Ichigo. But in that case, no, I don't think that's worth it because it would just yeah, I think that's like an end goal sort of thing rather than a early goal. Knight's Flower. Hold on. This could work. Yeah, this could definitely work for Urahara. Have one of them be the sheath and the cane, and the other one be his sword. Even though those are technically the same thing. But I swear they've been shown both at the same time, so I think it works. I'll have a second peek just for everything, just to see if there's anything else that calls out to me. But I do think those are great. just for our boy Urahara. Tidal Ball might work for Yamamoto's Bankai, but I feel like I'm already doing too much for him already. Maybe this could be the monk dude who made all the words in Bleach. I'll come back to it in a sec. Preserver of Truth might also be a cool idea. But then it becomes less so because it visually looks like it, and more so because of the name. Oh, sorry, Perverter of Truth, not Preserver. Fuck, I can't read. God damn it, I can't read. Equipment artifacts are rather easy. As long as if it's just the weapon being visible, then easily just turn it into one of the characters, Sanpakutos or Bankais or Shikais or whatever. If it's got a character in it, just choose the character similar to that character. The shrines are a bit awkward, I will say. It's just a bit weird to use, but even then. Stuff like Horobi Death's Wall could easily be the Dangan. I feel like this could be Orobi? Ichibei, that's it. Ichibei. But, I don't know. So fun. Yamamoto? I don't know. Not really seeing anyone else who could be Urahara here, to be fair. This could be Urahara. Oh, god damn it, now I'm gonna start overthinking shit as well. Alright, let's just say let's just bull with it, whatever. That's becoming Chad. This one has to be Chad, right? Any other characters that just humble Budoko could be? You know what? I don't know who the person next to him would be. That's the only problem. Okay. Shit. No, this could definitely be Chad. Let's just plop him. I like that idea. It's now it's cemented. Maybe Yoruichi because there's a storm in the background, but yeah. I thought for a second, last time I looked through these, that Frostwooder could be Rukia, and then I thought to myself, no. No. I prefer the other option. Definitely affected by the fact that the other one was already blue and white, and just similar vibe. I feel like the Kitsune are really good for anyone really, well, like for Urahara, possible captains. Might be really good for like, I don't know. The main one that rings to mind is Urahara, to be fair. I saw this one and I thought of the Ronin form for Kai and Lego Ninjago. Lego Ninjago Monsters from last year. Was it last year? I think so. A lot of like the monsters are probably going to get turned into just random hollows eventually. It really depends on how deep I intend to go in drawings. Do I like want to go crazy with it, or do I want to just do like, do I want it to look like it from far away, or do I want to look like it from up close, you know? Villainous Ogre. Yeah, that's it for champions. If there was anything that you noticed that I just didn't bring up or didn't focus on. Okay, because it's got a slightly different vibe, I actually think I'll just go back. I'm going to just try and draw. Just going to try and draw. I think that a lot of this other stuff, just it's got a certain vibe to it, which I don't know. I do want to quickly just yoink this one, though, because I think it's really good for Soifon and her attacks, essentially. But yeah, alright, let's head back. As web, okay. I do also realise that I've kind of poorly ordered stuff already. Like, this is an artifact, so why is it up there? That's a land. So I have no idea why it's up there. And so on and so forth. But that does mean that I need to now move. Just doing all of those and put them in the right group. Alright. Just while it's fresh in my mind, let me just draw out what I've been thinking about with what I have. So here, I'm not sure what I'm going to do for that. However, for the other thing, let's... wasn't meant to bring that up there. Grab Soifon Shikai. from here we have that pattern, which I don't remember how to do, so shit butterfly. Yeah, it's something. It's close enough to that. I think we'll live if I just leave it at that. I do think I need to just tweak this though. I say, you know what, let's just row out the whole thing. Do. It's like that. So essentially something like that. No, I don't like it still. I don't know how to... How do I do this one? Oh, there is a scene where she shows on its side. Oh, thank fucking God. Oh, thank God. Okay. It's like... No, that's wrong. Like that sort of design. Alright then. We've got... Clearly we want the hand to be like this, and we know she's holding it. Gotta hold it like that. So for the fingers, I'm thinking instead we turn this finger into the middle finger. This something like that. That'll work. That way we can continue having the general vibe, but we don't lose anything from bringing in the character. So if I just grab one of these, grab one, switch it to a lower opacity. For some reason my pen hasn't been able to switch for the past couple of days. Oh, now it works, you fuck up. Alright. Let's just do that as a... So here we... Oh, okay, so the... This whole thing gets covered up by that, and we also get like a thick fucking bracelet here. Alright. That should work, right? Just as a general vibe to follow next time. As for it covers, I mean, it makes most sense to me that it would be like Yoruichi or something. So I'm going to do that. Wait a second, I don't think... Oh yeah, I can just... Oh, I'm drawing this on the specific point of the body where it wouldn't appear. So instead... Because of their outfits, if I understand correctly, it would look something like that. As for hair-wise, I mean, I should just... How does Yoruichi... How does her... Oh yeah, it's quite thick, isn't it? Well, she's also quite... Anyway, this is just... Something along those lines should work, I think. Has some schematics to work with. In terms of this one, it's Benihime, so let's look that up as well because I don't want to mess it up. Benihime Aratame. Oh, she doesn't have sleeves. I did not know that. I don't know if she has hands for sure. Something like that should work. Let's try something. Her hair is almost identical to Soifon's attack. I don't think that was done on purpose, to be honest. A lot of things in Bleach are done on purpose, but I don't think that was done on purpose. I think that just happened to be the case. Although it'd be quite funny, to be honest, but yeah. Let me just... Do you think that works? I think it does. I think that works. Just gotta remember. What if we did that instead? Just remove this one entirely. Oh, I do like that. I do like that quite a bit. I'm surprised no one ever had a Bankai that, or a Shikai that allowed them to interact with other people's Zanpakuto spirits and like flirt with them or something. You know, bring them onto their own side. And then down here we have just a little... Do you think that, since you wanted the Urahara, do you think that's a good idea for Manny? What do you think of that? Just for somewhere to start off as. God, that looks so daft. Just curious, since you're also an Urahara fan, I just want to see how this comes out for you. Yeah. Cool. I'm just gonna want to make it look a little bit nicer for. Oh boy. Just because I kind of threw him to the wayside for this one drawing. But yeah, for now, it's gonna be a little bit more thingy. You know, since I'm already doing one of one Urahara, let's do the other one. So I think this could also be a good Urahara. Obviously, no more tail. But I mean, for most of it, it can be basically the same, I think, because it's not too dissimilar. That looks. I think because he's actually human, his head should probably be a little bit further back. Hold on, why am I doing his loops like that? Give me a second. Because a lot of his silhouette is quite simple, there really isn't much, I think, to do with this one. Just because it's already so, like, almost perfectly set up. I think I will be leaving it just as is. Wait, hold on, let me just figure out. Torso. Yeah, as well. That should literally be it. Let's remove the card layer. Okay, he looks a bit flat. It might be as simple as just... No, it was the back leg. Ah, shit, it was the back leg. That was wrong. Not the front leg. No, wait, what? How do I do this then? Wait, wait a second. I don't know. I got it. Okay, no, I got it. I got it. Alright. The problem isn't all of that other shit, it's this. It's not meant to loop all the way around. The fact that I'm making it loop do that. Hold on, the passage's up, max. It looks different in the first place. And these are too high as well, which isn't helping. They might be that low. It also feels like... It's a lot thinner, I know, but at the same time, you know, let's try it one more time. Let's see if maybe there's just a different way I can approach this that'll make it better. So key thing, we know that we've got that. We know there's a neck here. We also know that there is a... Sorry. We also know that there is a... something here. Yeah. Okay, so that's what we've got as like the basics. So how would I make this into a human? So first of all, I mean, a human leg is like this, not like that. So do I just simply do that and call it a day? No, because human legs would be longer if you stretch them out. Which means that the problem here is that I need to basically just add like that much onto whatever I'm trying to do. Which also ends up meaning that this whole thing I think most of the arm seems fine, so it would just be a matter of interpreting it directly. Hands are also fine. And then this head just needs to be brought back like one head. I think that's the improvement I was lacking. So now we just grab the previous one. Well, no, let's just grab what we've got here. Do that. And then we go up here, rub it out a little bit, add on the classic And then I think that this sword is probably going to become... Sorry, this one is going to become the sword. It's a straight sword though, like a... I forget what the Chinese ones are called, but that. And then this one can become a saber looking stick. I think that came out a lot better. It just needed some tweaks. I think that's good now. Alright. There you have your Urahara. Are you pleased with this placeholder? Keeping in mind that I did just have to change the anatomy of the creature. given that people don't have legs like that and such. You know what I want to do? I want to edit this. Let's get a picture of the Soul King up while I wait for you. Soul King. First off, his hair is somewhat different. I think it's literally just... This guy's got a taper. Then he has one of those daimyo editions up here, which I am appeased, or rather the council is appeased because it's like 20. I appreciate the input from the council. This guy is overall similar to the Soul King. I just need the Soul King to feel more dead inside and more suicidal. think this comes over. I could be wrong. And then we have our something like that. And now I'm going to put him in a gem. Now I'm going to put him in a crystal. Alright. How big do we make this? I assume we didn't want it right on the edges here. That should work pretty well. Okay. I'm gonna need 1 second. I just quickly have a conversation because something's going on. I'm back in like a moment, probably like 10 or so minutes. But yeah, we've got just to run over it real quick. We've got an idea of how we want. Oh, I know basically what I want to do with almost everything here. But as it is now, we've currently got writing for pretty much everything. We've got some placeholders for Urahara, the Soul King, Ichigo, a Menos Grande, Benihime Aratame, and Soifon's attack. I'm just going to leave this up, just so it's there while I'm gone. But yeah, I'll be back in like, give me like 5 minutes. Goodness. I have returned. And I have a cake. Yeah, I have a cake now. Alright, let's put that to the side. Okay. I was yapping about something. Hold on. Yeah, okay. Who to work on next? I think I want to go back to Ichigo now that I've had like a minute to experiment a bit. Just to kind of cement what I'm doing with him. Just had a dinner talk, basically. That was it. Alright, let's... While I think about what version of him is best to use for this image, let's just rubble that all out. Nice and good. So either I take him and I turn him into... I could use his OG version, completely OG, so that it's like that same exact vibe. I could... That's what I'm going to do. Hold on. I was kind of vibing with the idea of giving him his full Shikashaka show, whatever the fuck it's called. But what if instead here I legit just do it based off of the drawing I have above me? For context. That. Really nice, like, holographic textured sort of thing. But basically yoink that. Bad boy. I don't know why I said it that way. And just do that. So he's missing... Remember correctly, it was something like... He has a belt or something. That does look like I just drew a cock and balls on his thing, but that hopefully it's just because I'm immature. Hopefully it's not actually what that looks like. God, I can't see it. Fuck. Alright, for the face... No, this isn't fucking Bakugo. I don't know why I drew it like that. Side note, I don't really get the appeal of Bakugo, to be honest. He's just a bully. Like, that's all he's ever seemed like to me, so I can't understand. that'll work for now. This is a general idea. I actually think this plot. And let's grab. Okay, I want to just quickly grab a picture of Ichigo. Oh, the screaming outside was kind of annoying. Now it could be that we go for. And do I believe that Ichigo could totally pull this entire thing up with one fucking hand? Yeah, 100%. I have full confidence in his ability to do so. But I just want to see it first. What are we thinking? Is this sword a good way to go? I think that's a nice place to leave with Ichigo, just because I think that really does fit his design. I'm not fucking touching this one for a while because this one I feel like is going to be the hardest one because I want to show the dragon propeller shit that Ichigo wore that Yuraichi gave him, but at the same time I don't really know how to approach it as a singular artifact, in all honesty. So let's move on to something else. I'm feeling like Yoruichi's the best one for this one. But I'm going to need some input first because that could just be me being down bad. In full honesty, complete transparency. So for now, I will be doing Rukia 1 and 2. I like how this one is a named character and this one is like some random oh girl. And ironically, I'm having the named character be her normal form and the non-named version being her Bankai. Well, I mean, I guess it technically isn't completely random, but it's quite funny to me. I mean, obviously we know that, like, her hair has to change, but I don't really know what else has to change. The rest is going to not really change much, because I honestly think that the fit given by this version, I mean, it's not completely dissimilar from what she would look like even by the end of the series. her eyes have got to change. I can't stop seeing them. In terms of outfit, I mean, the only thing I feel like is really missing is that it'd be nice to differentiate and make it look like she's wearing her captain's cloak. I think that might be a nice way to like keep on having all this flowy movement while it's not just a complete change in thing. Like, I'll have to mark out what's what though. That's the only problem with that, but that's... I think that's a fun notion to work with. Just her wearing the captain's cloak. That sort of thing. I mean, her trousers do go past the knee though, which is the only problem I will say with this idea. But easy fix is I can really just cover up her legs. That's like literally all I have to do. So, for this thing, I mean, it could very well just be that. But I'm thinking it'd be a cool way to show, like, the blade is behind her hand or something. I don't know. Oh shit, I'm gonna have to zoom in for this one. No, I don't recall her having anything showing. Now, okay. Here I've got another change I've got to make. Because Ruka in her Bankai, she's almost frozen solid. She is sub like 100 degrees Celsius. She's fucking. She cannot move. If she moves, she will shatter. At least this early on her Bankai usage. So I'm not quite certain that this fucking pose is possible. So do I A, continue with this pose and just say fuck it we ball, or do I get really autistic and do I like try and change it somewhat so that at least she has like maybe her sword pointing this way and her arm is more like this? Or even like oh, I have to be autistic, man. I can't. I physically cannot let it be the way it is. It can't stay that way, unfortunately. It's not. It doesn't make any sense, and it can't. It just physically won't make sense in my head. No matter how many times I try to I can't do it. I just physically can't do it. All right. So basically, we gotta have two arms here holding the blade, although it's more of a type thing. And then her thing on the back, I think it's like a... Yeah, there's definitely a lot of tweaks I'm going to have to do with all of this stuff just to make it fit the characters a little bit better. Because while I want to do almost a one-to-one copy of the art, but it feels like when I try to use the characters in that position, they're too short, they're too tall, they're too this, they're too that, so they are physically going to have to change in some way. But I will definitely try to replicate the art styles as much as I can. For this one, I'm fairly certain I don't have to actually change anything, to be honest. In terms of like adding outlines or something, it's just going to be a matter of when I do it. I just need to, do it. But let me just make sure. Squad 0 scroll. Senjumara. Alright, Senjumara, let's think this through. It is crazy that Senjumara only died because she was up against bullshit. And unfortunately, his bullshit was bullshittier than his. I was wrong, I have to change this. Well, shit. Again, the fits are just so similar, it's insane. I mean, obviously they're both coming from Japanese stuff, so it's gonna make sense that they do, but it's kind of freaking me out how similar the outfits are. I'm the one who fucking chose them. Gradient maps? What do you mean? Like, as in you're doing your drawings in but okay, got you. You're doing your drawings in black and white, and you want them to like. I think your best bet is just to turn it into a vector, and then individually pick out each color. But that would take a long time, soon. It could also be the software. If you're gradient maps. Here's what they say on Reddit. Yeah, well, I just used this, I used to just search today, blah, blah, blah. Paint for grayscale first. The gradient map will detect the different values you use in grayscale, then it will convert those values to color with a color gradient and replaces each value in your painting with the corresponding color and the gradient. It sounds cosplay, just guessworks. You can color the same exact. Clip Studio, Paint, Edit, Tonal Correction, Gradient Map. As you can see from what I've posted drawing, I didn't even know those existed, so. We're in the same boat, I guess. I don't know if I'm quite developed enough as an artist to quite use them well enough for that. I'll be completely honest. I'm on Photoshop, or better still, I paint on my phone, then move the layers to Photoshop. Sure. Wait, where have you gone? Where's it gone? Hold on. The fuck? Oh. Nice dog. Shit, I want to know what I'm doing. Hold on. Alright, I'm looking at both of them. So liquidy. So is this second one you sent me the gradient version? Or whatever Coplop is. Also, the eye kind of looks like a straw. It kind of looks like a tomato. The bottom of it. The one on the bottom left. I can't unsee that now. You know, the upper area almost looks like I'm looking at either someone like this, like their inner torso and then an arm going out like this, or like it's the inner like crotch area and the leg sticking out. I might be tripping balls. So I'm assuming that the second one is what happens when you try to gradienting this, right? So one was on the phone. Sorry, I'm just thinking that this came out there. But hers is more like clothing, isn't it? I honestly think the scrolls can still work because I can just turn it into fabric. Okay, hold on, let me just check what you said. Yes, indeed, the second one was an attempt at using a human mount, and yes, the top is the better person with his torso sticking out. Typically, it's not the man like a non. Hey, man, I think it looks great. I'll be honest. It feels like I'm looking at like Quicksilver, both the character. Sorry, no, both in the sense of it reminds me of Silver Surfer, but also in terms of like it looks like I'm watching molten metal drip down in a good way. Like I mean it in a positive way. Now, as you can see from the fact that I don't use it, I use something called Critter mostly, so I don't really. I'll be honest, I don't really know how to use Photoshop that well. The recommendations I stole were from Clip Studio. I think this is where you get kind of fucked up. The remove the background part might actually mess with yours a bit more than it should because of how thin your stuff is. It looks like it's vector mapping from that picture I saw down there. Sharp shadows and bright highlights. I don't think gradient maps are going to work for you. If I am skim reading heavily. Oh no, mind. They just for some reason have chosen to do something related to black and white, and that confused me. Color tone. Oh, that might be it. Have you selected the correct type of effect? Because here it has something called photographic toning, which seems to be more of like a minor color tone change rather than actually doing what it seems that you want to do. So it might just be that you're choosing the wrong one. This one, photographic toning, that seems to be the wrong one. Resources. Whoa! Holy shit! I was literally about to say this guy reminds me of Magic the Gathering, and then it said down here, Magic the Gathering. Yeah, damn. So this fella uses sorry, gradient map inspired pieces. Whoa. Holy fuck. Excuse my crass language, but my fucking god. This shit is class. Damn, son. Damn, son. Hope you found that. It's so flowy. Got you. Oh, this guy's art is just spectacular. Sorry, I can't. It's like I can't look away. His art is like perfect for like the Eldrazi or Archaics, I feel. It's really great for anything, but like, so that's just what I think of when I see his art. Whoa. More batch of the Gathering. Jesus Christ. I love these like massive being, but then blocked by tree. Alright, I'm getting distracted. I'm kind of curious now, does the site I'm using have the same thing? Obviously, these are, you know, not even close to being finished, but... I convert image color space? No, that's not it. I think. Okay, I think I understand it already. At least on here. So can I change the color directly? Yeah. So if I wanted it to all become blue, and then the leftover space I can choose. Oh, interesting. Why is it not affecting the left side? Oh yeah, no shit, because I'm not using the fucking whole thing. Of course it's not. Got you. So I'm not gonna. I would need to have like a full. You know what? Hold on. It looks like it turns all of your colors into set colors. Not per se a bad thing, but more so just that's what I'm noticing. Just wait. Don't. I should have saved. There's not this much I'm losing, but I should have still saved. Question is, do I have to merge it first, or can I affect all of it with one gradient map? Let me try not to crash my entire fucking computer real quick. It's fine, it's fine. Alright. Okay, this is very similar to the one you sent me before. Is this post? I'm assuming this is post gradient map then. What made this attempt different? Is my question. Cancel. Okay, so that doesn't. Fuck, that's annoying. Hold on, let me just see what the difference between 1 and 2 is. I'm a little lost. Ah. Huh, that third one looks like you've actually painted it. Like, on a thing. Okay, so the difference between these two is you have the yellow lines. Got you. Hmm. You're saying this one was on multiple layers. I feel you. I almost want to see. Ah, please don't crash. Okay. Oh, when you said spam, you meant spam. Okay, my goodness. Let me just cancel. Fuck. Let me just no. I don't think I'm going to be able to open that Ichigo image anymore. Because it's just going to keep crashing. Holy shit. Gnarly. Theo, be quiet. Okay. So this one... I'm just wondering what the difference is in approach that allowed these to work. Oh. Fuck. Hold on. What the fuck just happened? Okay, I'll take it as a win. Grab that PNG. Is it just the multiple layer things, maybe? I thought I'd just check. If I turn this into like this, how would it work if I did that? I mean, first of all, I really like your stuff. I vibe with it because it just feels like Elden Ring. It feels like those, I don't know, Nephilim type things. Paint the background so it really look clean. True, true. That's a good mindset to have. Wiesz, kurwa, mam tego... No mam. Holy fuck, that's ugly. Holy shit, that's ugly. What the fuck? My eyes. My eyes. Oh. Okay. I think I've realized something, and it might be because this one works differently. But yeah. So, I think one thing to keep in mind is you will need to make like 20 of these gradient maps. You'll need to make multiple of them. You'll need to make, and you also got to remember that it seems to be, from my end, splitting every single color into like the key, into like the key gradients. Like, now this could be because this one is like that, but problem is I'm trying to do this in one layer because, oh my fucking god, it's going to crash my computer otherwise. If I were to, let's just, for an experiment, let's just grab this, just grab different colours to what I've done with everything else. Nope, that's not what I wanted. Low opacity. Just curious. I'm just gonna grab a preset real quick. I don't understand how it's choosing what goes where. Left colour, right colour. Okay, interesting. It's curious. I've never heard of this stuff or seen it before. Do you know if there's been any interviews with, what's the guy called? Hold on. Where the fuck is he? What did you say his name? I've actually forgotten. Oh, I've literally got it right there in recent searches. Does he have any, like, tutorials? Oh, he has an art academy. Have you gone through his, like, study channel? By chance? I'm assuming you just watched his how to install ones, right? Oh shit. Well, I'm gonna have to watch. I'm gonna have to watch it at some point. Yeah, he's got the whole painting process down for all his stuff. So theoretically, if he's God, his shit is stunning, isn't it? It really is. I'm just curious. If I just want to grab this one real quick. Are you showing like the end of the process? Until that has nothing before.
Hi, I'm Pete Moorbacher. If you're curious about how I make my painting, you're in luck. I've made a video series detailing my painting process from beginning to end. It shows everything from the early values to color to problem solving, use of reference, and final details, all in a easy to watch video series. And then I've also got some additional bonus footage of a beginning to end creation of my Driftwood Cathedral painting. This whole video series includes a lot of behind the scenes footage on how I made my Angels of the Zodiac series. If this is something that you think sounds good, go over to huckleberry.art and check it out. You can get $5 off with the promo code here, WT Summer 5 off. Thanks so much. Hope you enjoy it.
Got you. Yeah, that's just a bit of money. Jesus fucking Christ. We're gonna get the mentorship stuff. Have you checked out his studies as well?
We were having this conversation, and I was like, making something look painted is easy. You just have to add gradient. And this is actually a pretty bad example to give as a photograph, to give as a photographic example of it, because the lighting is so even. Like, we have this figure here where it's there's bright light kind of emanating from everywhere, so we've got a lot of ambient occlusion and not a lot of key lighting. But we can kind of imagine, so I'm gonna fake it in a little bit here. The basic idea is if you are, I'm just gonna do this. If you are wanting to get something to make it feel more rendered, it comes down to a gradient, and that means okay, we're gonna put a little bit of light up here, and we're gonna put a little darkness down here, and this pushing the sometimes I'll just do this as an overlay, or soft light, or hard light, but you can see that
None of these words mean fucking anything to me. I don't use any of this shit. I really don't use digital to its full capacity, I can't lie.
Over the length of the socks here, it's kind of gradating as it goes up the length of the leg from darker to lighter. There's these kind of intersecting gradients that happen when you're looking at rendering, where
okay, that's not my attitude.
There's the gradient that runs this way, up the leg, but then there's another one that kind of wraps around the leg. So we just need to think about okay, well, it's gonna be lighter on top and darker on the bottom. So we can do something that's maybe just a soft brush stroke, or maybe literally a gradient, depending on how much we have blocked in. And it's really not about trying to meticulously push everything around. You can sometimes just get this effect by laying in a literal gradient that runs across the whole length of the figure. But what I'm doing when I'm thinking about lighting most of the time,
yeah, absolutely,
is I'm thinking about these certain.
I'm also meant when I'm talking about the layer stuff that I don't know what any of those alternate layers are, because I just don't use it on Crissa.
Sort of larger, longer gradients that run across the whole form.
The closest I have to that is I use it's a filter or masking layer for light. I use a Gaussian glare. That's about it though.
So it's going to be a lot lighter up towards the head and a lot darker down towards the feet, and that's going to give a sense of spotlighting. And you can see it's already happening even though I haven't done any kind of real detail. But then you also get these smaller segmentations, you see across the face. If we think about moving across the face from left to right here, trying to get a brush that's actually going to show up.
I feel I'm probably going to start looking into that sort of stuff once I start to feel I'm in a spot where I just need to. That's just the next step. I don't know. It's I would have to reach a point where I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know how to do a ... before I would do it, I feel.
There we go. Left to right, across this way. We can assume, okay, well, there's light coming in from the left side. So then...
But then I should probably try and approach it. I am using digital after all. It scares me, though.
You can just kind of, transition slowly, lighting
so
from
much.
left to right. And you get, to round out the face a little bit. Same thing across the neck, it's going from sort of left to right. And if we rough that in, we have kind of a rough structure for a a transition from left to right. And like when you start looking around for like is the exact value everywhere along this whole chain, I'm more worried about like as acrylic or ink on paper, and he has to do it by like let me pull up an example of his work. Kinds of like soft transitions over long lengths of space really easily.
So I'm just trying to see if you can bring up the gradient thing.
This is a quick tutorial on how to install my gradient map pack into Krita. All of the resources in Krita are managed through the Manage Resource tabs here. What you want to do is open this up and then import resources. Find the angelgradients.bundle file, and that'll pull it into your Krita file structure here.
Being scammed again. I didn't know you were a prince. I assume you mean spammed. You can go
and
for
then you
it.
can go and find it.
I do realize now that it's been like what, 4 hours. I might gonna have to go soon.
Gradients here. You should be able to see all of my angel gradients in the resource manager. And then if you go up to the gradient explorer here, you should be able to find them tagged. And so if you want to actually apply one of them, the way you create a gradient map in Krita is by going to the little arrow next to the plus button here to create a new filter layer, and we can choose a gradient preset. And if you have the angel gradients drop down here, you've got this whole selection. Let me just grab the one that I used for this painting. This one's Hosmed right here. You can see the name preview. Hit OK. And then the blending mode I like is soft light photo.
It looks
Photoshop.
Like
this one right here, and this will produce a really similar.
Oh, okay.
Soft light Photoshop. This one right here, and this will produce a really similar effect to what I'm getting in Photoshop. And you can see as we tune the opacity up and down, we're getting those results.
That is really nice. It doesn't look like you need to limit yourself to one layer, man. I'll be honest. It looks like you could just use a bunch of different... Oh, shit.
So that's it. I hope you enjoy. Thanks for joining me.
Yeah, shit. It looks like you don't need to do any of that. Just, It seems like more so. You just need to, like I was gonna say this before, but then I didn't know if I just wasn't understanding something. But it seems like for the gradient, you just need to figure out what colors will go at what point of the gradient. Like, is the left to right? What is left to right? Is the furthest left the darkest, of the furthest right the lightest, or is that not how it works? Is it like just direct stuff? So look at that, and then what you need to do, it seems like, is just afterwards you need like that soft gradient thing. Let's see, how does he describe it in Photoshop? Just so I can...
Hey, this is a quick tutorial on how to use and install gradient maps. The way you make a gradient map is by going to your Layers tab here, and on the bottom, there's this little black and white circle. That's your adjustment layers, and then down at the bottom, we've got a gradient map. We click on the thumbnail preview, the gradient here, and we get our gradient editor. The import button here will open up a file browser, and
You'll get it.
select
I believe
wherever
in
that GRD file is. And it'll bring up the gradient.
I do think that this is definitely perfect for the way you're drawing. Like, I think as long as you put this into your drawing, alongside maybe using low, like just different opacities when you're drawing, it will definitely, it looks like it would be really beneficial to you.
It's in
I say it like that because it didn't look like you used a crazy amount of different opacities. It mainly looked like you used like a liquify tool. Or you just draw in such a perfect way where it does look like it's liquefied. I have no fucking idea.
In a little folder down here, and you can see here's all of them. The thing that I love about gradient maps is that you can kind of just like click through them and see different results. So we can find one that we like for this piece and change the blending mode to soft light, and we can blend those colors in. While it's on soft light, we can also go in here and
yeah, I would say if you can get his angel gradients, get them. especially if they're free. Like if they're free, just fucking suck that shit up. Um, find any way to get them, and alternatively, look at how he shows them on here and just copy what he's done. So you can see below there, here, that he has the markings. Basically, bar for bar copy his ass. And while you do that, just try and figure out what left to right means, and that way you'll be able to make your own. It seems like you can do this on one layer. I'm looking at what he's done. He clearly has multiple layers and multiple gradient maps, but they seem to affect. It looks like it's affecting the whole page, unless I'm misunderstanding how his layers are set up.
Blend this piece. Gradient. This little black and white circle.
Yeah, it looks like just grabbed one of the layers and it covered the entire
down at the bottom,
thing.
we've got a gradient map. We click on the thumbnail preview, the gradient here, and we get our gradient editor.
Then airbrushing grayscale gradients, but I do have his gradients because they're free. Yeah, good. Perfect. Yeah, I would just say mess around with his gradients. Possibly make like a copy of whatever you're doing, just so that you don't lose it, and then make it like a new tab or whatever it is on Photoshop, or page. Mess around with his gradients, because he clearly has like a setup, and you can just basically, as long as you just tweak the things and you can kind of see what's changing, you've got to do that. It just seems like experimentation. And then as to, I don't think you need to go crazy in the idea of using multiple layers. I think he just personally uses lots of layers. But if you are going to work with lots of layers, I recommend using it as a chance to work with opacity and just fuck around with it, because I think opacity gradients will be really helpful for you, because it'll make it easier for you to have lots and lots of different color layers, or different what's the word, color, tone, gradient, whatever layers of information that this can attack. I think if I'm seeing things correctly.
Import thumbnail, and it'll bring.
I'd also look at how he does his tutorials, because the way he does his tutorials will imply how he does his actual pieces. So if he's using lots of different opacity layers, that probably is because they're going to help him later down the line when he uses other tools as well. Really weird way to describe this, but it almost feels like the way people draw tends to be like a magic dex. As you add more and more pieces in, it is overall towards one goal, or one or two goals, like one or two keywords or whatever. And for him, it's gradients, gradient map, and so on and so forth. And anything that benefit. Anyway, I'm just tripping there. That's what it looks like. I'd say experiment with that. All of this because I refuse to learn how to use color. I mean, color isn't that hard. Well, I mean, you've got a way you draw now, so yeah. I would just experiment with the gradient maps. I have to go though, because I have to do vacuuming. I need to eat because I'm hungry. But yeah, thank you for introducing me to this guy, because I'm definitely going to start watching for his videos. It does make me feel good that he uses the Artist Pro. I don't use this one. I have a much older version of that. But it looks like we use similar stuff, so it'll be helpful. Wrong brush settings, man. I'm not gonna lie, brush settings scare me as well. Everything fucking scares me, man. I feel like an old guy. I'm looking at digital stuff and I'm just like, oh, don't hurt me. But yeah, oh. He very. I'm looking at this piece, for example, with the black and white. He definitely uses lots of gradients, so yeah, just check that out. Sorry, not gradients. Fuck. Well, no, he is using gradients, but as in he's using different opacities. Just. I think if you want to change an MO, do that, because I was looking at one of your the last, what was it, 3 that you sent me? No, hold on. Very close. Give me a sec. Like these ones. Where is this? For like this stuff, I noticed that you kind of just do what you've done kind of is just like a big block of black. Don't hurt me is very biblically accurate. It's just how I feel like. It's just like, please. But what I'm noticing is you use like a heavy block of color, which is probably what is messing with your gradient maps, because there's gradients and then there's gradient maps, and gradient maps seem to affect things based on the actual tone of the color, whereas gradients themselves are just like one big patch of color. So what you probably want to do here, for example for this one, is just use an eraser with a like lower opacity to just, I don't know, like slightly tweak it. Basically just to bring out the highlights and stuff, but also to exasperate the tones, and in the same sense make some of the tonal bits way darker using a low opacity, or like a 80% opacity or 20% brush. Just like experiment with different opacities and stuff, just to make sure you know which, like, so you're used to it. And then just go over that shit with a gradient, and I think then you'll have it basically. You'll have it. If you don't understand anything, you can text me and send me an example of it, but also check his video and just see if maybe you just misunderstood something or something slipped you by. But yeah, I like your stuff. I really do. And hopefully this page of magic cards can at least be somewhat comparable at some point. But yeah, I'm gonna head off now because I need stuff. Yeah. Yeah, look at me, I can't do it. But yeah. See ya. Next time I will probably... I don't fucking know. I'll probably do another art stream. Maybe I'll do some Chronomachia. I'm not actually fully sure what I want to do next. But yeah.